stop. I am so sick of people using mental health as an excuse to be like a shit person or not know what's going on in the world, because I have a lot of mental health problems, and I know not to lie about people, not to be delusional, not to accuse people of stuff that they didn't do, not to say someone wasn't essayed or whatever the fuck, like not him and other people this week. Oh, I have ADHD, I have this. It's like, get it under control.
So, Trisha has put out a video called Addressing the Allegations, where she basically did everything but that. She said she didn't lie. She said she's getting harassment and hate. She said the deceased man's family is getting hate and getting doxxed because of the frenemies subreddit, which is all Ethan's fault. And she discredited the allegations being brought against Moses. And the whole summary of the video can basically be summarised with she just saying that she just misspoke. And I suppose here's the thing, Trisha. You misspeaking about these situations has resulted in the slandering of a dead man's name, someone who conveniently can no longer defend themselves. And the awful thing about this is because he's passed, a defamation case can't even be brought to the courts. You misspeaking on this stuff has most likely destroyed the family of the accused, and there's seemingly a massive divide in the family between you and Moses and Ethan and Hila. Although it's unclear whether there was already some tension in the family, considering Ethan's comments that Moses liked to do things to spite the family on previous episodes of Frenemies. And to be honest, I'm not sure if saying, well, I just misspoke is good enough. Don't you feel you should apologise and take some accountability? Trisha says she never lied about anything that happened to her, and she was told that he was arrested, which is why she said this on Frenemies. But I just don't think you can go on and say this without taking some accountability. You are a public figure after all. Trisha then goes on to bring up how someone on Twitter recently came forward in defence of her, who was said to be in the same school with Trisha, and she was actually backing up some of Trisha's claims. The main thing that this person actually backed up was the teacher did actually tend to get handsy when they were doing Heads Up 7-Up, which is something that Trisha had also gone on to say. However, the majority of this person's claim was actually proving that Trisha did, in fact, knowingly or not, slander this man's name, saying that this man, the teacher, was caught with pee on his computer whilst watching it in a room of children, which is a lot different to being caught with CP on your computer. And again, this account went on to say that the teacher used to grab them whilst they were playing Heads Up 7-Up, and she actually did show that her dad was the chief of police in Byron, which is the school that Trisha went to, where these allegations are being made from. And she showed texts between her and her dad, where her dad, the chief of police, confirmed that he vaguely remembered an incident of pee regarding Mr. Riney, but he was never charged or convicted with CP or anything. Trisha also said that lots of people were thinking this was actually her on an alt account, and that the reason other people don't come forward in defence of Trisha is because, as this person is now getting, a lot of hate and being doxxed. And regarding the allegations that Trisha had made, although there are, I suppose, similarities in how there was pee on this man's computer in a room of children, that is wildly different, both in nature and severity, to having CP on your computer. And considering the platform you're putting these claims out on, with millions of viewers on Frenemies, don't you think you should maybe have gotten the facts straight before you put these claims out into the world? Especially knowing how ride or die fans are these days. And did it never cross your mind that the viewers of Frenemies might just try and go out and search for this poor man, try and dox him, send hate to the family or anything like that? It's just so awful that you failed to take accountability for slandering this poor man's name. Other things Trisha talked about here was how the hate that she was getting from the subreddit was controlled by Ethan, since he is in charge of the Reddit, according to Trisha. But the blame can't be placed on Ethan for things like the claims against Moses, the lies you spoke about throughout the history of being on YouTube, or any of the lies you spoke about in relation to all of these serious allegations. It's not Ethan's fault that the family is getting hate. It was you who put out these claims and publicly said his name. The majority of Ethan's fans are actually advocating for the family to be left alone, the complete opposite of what you're saying. Ethan can also not be blamed for your inability to take accountability, so stop blaming him. In the video, she also goes on to say that she wants everyone to stop talking about it, and that she just wants to move on with everything. She also has the comments turn off, something that she actually bashed David Dobrik for in his apology on Frenemies. She also highlighted how that there were multiple events that have happened to her across her life and across multiple school districts that she has never spoken about. And I'm not sure whether this is new information or a new addition to the story and timeline of all of these allegations. But basically, she didn't really say much in the way of an apology, if anything at all. She skirted around the main issues against Moses, and there were a couple subtle hints that she may be taking legal action against that. In response to this video, Ethan tweeted out, "Trisha has accused me of sending a hate mob after her. That's literally all she's tried to do since the first day of Frenemies ended. I have not even mentioned their allegations once on the podcast. She's lying and saying it's our fault. We have nothing to do with this hate mob. If Trisha wants me to stop talking about her, then she needs to stop lying about me. Her teacher is being doxxed for one reason only. She mentioned him by name, school and year and told people to look him up. She needs to take responsibility and stop blaming me." So Ethan is quite rightly standing his ground, making sure that it's known to Trisha that he's not having it, pushing her to take accountability, and highlighting that it was actually her that put out this poor man's name publicly, and to stop blaming him for all the hate she's now getting. And I think it just speaks volumes to Trisha's character, how she doesn't seem to be able to play by her own rules. When she was calling out lots of people throughout her time on Frenemies, they were begging her to stop talking about her, and now she's doing the same. But she didn't give those people the time of day. So why should people be listening to what she has to say now? The fact that she barely even acknowledged the allegations being brought up against Moses is just so hypocritical. Especially how she went on and on about how she didn't like the relationship between Keem, being 40, and his then girlfriend, 20. Since, if you weren't aware, Daphne, one of the now accusers / victims of Moses, was 22 at the time, and I think Moses was either 39 or 40. And if they were in an adult consensual relationship, fine, but it's just the double-sided hypocrisy that gets people annoyed and frustrated with Trisha. A few years ago, there was a huge YouTube drama with Keemstar where he falsely accused an old man of being a P. And for years since, Keem has apologised, and it was part of his crew who wrote the script for him that had actually gotten the research wrong. But Keem, rightly so, since he was the public figure, the public face, putting that out into the world, he took accountability. I'm pretty sure he also paid the man, I think it was something like $10,000. He's platformed him to give his side of the story, and anytime that gets brought up, Keem owns it. He says he got it wrong, he says that he shouldn't have done what he did, and he apologised for all the ramifications. And I'm not sure if there ever could be a comeback from this from Trisha until she apologises, if there ever would be a comeback. I'm not sure whether this is just too serious and has pushed people who were even hard ride or die fans to the edge and just can't take Trisha anymore. I mean, there's been so many scandals over the years, the chicken nugget, the blackface, so many things I can't even think off the top of my head. But lots of people have stood by her, forgiven her, and kind of just moved on when she's brought up this other new thing. Oh, and let's not forget the whole DID thing. But I don't know whether this for some people would just be too far. And it is kind of sad to think that she had somewhat of a comeback on Frenemies. There was lots and lots of new fans and new supporters of her saying that they'd never really found her, didn't understand her before, but now they could see she was just misunderstood and was suffering from some type of trauma that was clearly the reason that they'd been acting out before. But now I think it's gone too far now. And like I say, I think one of the worst things is actually that she can't take accountability for it. I think most people are willing to forgive, but people aren't willing to forget. And unless she fully owns it, I don't think there's ever going to be a true comeback for Trisha. Although having said that, she's done a lot of horrible things and she's still managed to have a lot of money and success. Maybe her OnlyFans crew don't really care about all of this. They just want whatever she gives them over there. Anyway, thank you so much for watching to the end, and I'm sorry for all the snoring dog noises. I only realised that when listening to it back. I've got a little pug and she's just the loudest snorer. I'd love to know if any of you guys have any dogs or any pets. I'm such an animal lover. And of course, I want to know all your thoughts and opinions on everything that Trisha went on to say in her supposedly apology addressing the allegations video. I'm trying to hit 1k by the end of the year, so I'd really appreciate if you hit the subscribe button, and whilst you're there, drop a like. Hopefully see you around, maybe in the next video. Okay, bye, thank you.
Say what you wanna say to me